Yo guys, it's James from CinePhoto. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Canon 70D. It's kind of like in that middle range between the beginner Canon DSLRs and the professional, so it's kind of in this kind of enthusiast range. And it's got a decent price tag on it. You can get it body only for around £500 depending on where you look. We'll put some links down in the description. So starting off, the camera's fully weather sealed, which is great, particularly what I do. I do a lot of outdoor shooting, a lot of adventure-based stuff, so that outdoor weather sealing is perfect, and it's a necessity for me. The build quality of the thing is, it's a plastic body still, which means it's still pretty lightweight, which is, again, good for going around outside, traveling light. So it's got a 20.2 megapixel CMOS sensor. This thing takes great stills. I use it for both still and video. And so, I mean, I can definitely say that I've been extremely pleased with the results I've got out of the stills of it. I've recently been doing slightly more stills, and I really do love the camera for that. The Canon DSLRs are great for both stills and videos, which is nice. One of the main points of this camera, which is why a lot of people like to buy it for video, is its autofocus capabilities. It's got 19 cross-type autofocus points, which is great. Coupled with the touchscreen, the articulating touchscreen, it makes it great for video because it means you can just tap for where you want to focus, which is not found in a lot of other DSLRs, which I think is great. And also photos, the autofocus, obviously depending on the lens, is pretty snappy, and it's great for sports shooting, any of that kind of thing. Perfect. So as I say, this articulating screen is really great. It's what sets it aside from a lot of other DSLRs. So it means that if you are, say, in front of the camera, you can see yourself. And just for reference, we're actually filming this whole review on another 70D. So this is what your imagey this is what your image quality is looking like. This is what your image quality is looking like. Movie recording wise, it can shoot 1080 at 30 FPS or 24 FPS or 25 depending on where you are in the world, and then it can also shoot 720p at 60 FPS. Now this it's pretty standard again for DSLRs. This is what a lot of them can shoot at. You can get some that will shoot at 60 FPS, which is something that I might like to see from Canon possibly, just because that having to downscale to 720p sometimes becomes a little bit of a hassle for the stuff that I like to shoot film-wise. I would like to see possibly a higher FPS. It's got a little LCD screen on the back. It's got a little LCD screen on the top, which is one of my favourite points about the camera. It means that when you're in the night, you can see all of your shots. You can see all of your settings. It can light up and stuff as well, which is pretty cool. And it's nice for just a quick glance, just to see what you're shooting at, rather than having to kind of search through the display, because it sometimes can get quite jumbled on the display. So input-wise, it's got a 3.5mm mic input. It's got a smaller input for things like external remotes, something like an intervalometer or something. I use that quite a bit. It's also got an HDMI out, mini, and then also an AV out, which is it's a decent set of ports. I mean, I suppose they could be better. It's not going to be your film camera XLRs or whatever. And something that they do have now on the 80D is a headphone port, which I would quite like to see on this, just so I could monitor audio when I'm shooting from a mic on the camera. It's got an APSC sensor, so this is like crop sensor, so most of your lenses will fit it. It's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit cropped in on your full frame lenses, which may not necessarily be a bad thing if you do want a little bit more zoom, and so you do have to do that kind of calculation when you're buying lenses, because a 50mm isn't actually going to be a 50mm on an APS-C size sensor. Of course, this thing shoots RAW. I shoot RAW with my 70D. I've been shooting RAW for probably about 6 months now. Great RAW files. You can do a lot with them. ISO-wise, you can get up to some pretty high ISOs. I'd say around 6400. 6400 is probably the limit that I'd push it at. You could go higher, but low light wise, it does pretty well. I've been pretty impressed with its low light shooting capabilities. Took some night photos the other night in London. They're pretty good. For high-speed shooting, for things like sports and things, it can shoot 7 frames per second, which is pretty quick. I've shot a lot of sports and things with the 70D. Great results, so the 7 FPS is great for this. The camera's got built-in Wi-Fi, which is really great for things like social media. So if I'm taking some photos on my 70D and I want to transfer them onto my phone, rather than downloading them onto my computer via an SD and then having to sync them from my computer to my phone, I can do it straight from the camera using the Wi-Fi and connect my phone up. I can have the photos that I've taken on my DSLR onto my phone within about 10 seconds, which is great. Some of the later Canon DSLRs now have NFC, which is a further improvement on this, but the Wi-Fi still works great, and I think it is one of the strong points of this camera. Being a Canon DSLR, it means that you've got that great range of lenses to select from. That was one of the main reasons why I chose Canon, was because of the range of lenses that you can choose from. Most companies will do a lens for Canon, which is great, and definitely the lenses is a strong point for Canon cameras. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little review on the 70D. If you've got any further questions, let us know in the comments below and we will try our best to answer them. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this one and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.